Just when you think the Mavericks are done on day one of NBA free agency, God, I'm fired up about this. Seth Curry, part 3. He's back, baby. 2-year deal. Details to be determined. Myself, Harrison Graham, Jeff Cooperstein with you. We'll explore what the contract could be in a moment. And let me just mention this, too. If contract details do not drop as we're filming this, we will pin a comment on today's video with those contract details once they come through. So stay tuned for that. But Coop, he's back, baby. Seth Curry is a Mav once again.
Part 3.
Give me your initial reactions here.
I'm fired up, man. I think Seth, Mavs history notwithstanding, I think he's the kind of guy that the Mavs really needed. They needed a sharpshooter desperately. It kind of feels like they're trying to get off that Tim Hardaway Jr. contract, so this sort of feels like the replacement for Seth. Now we're waiting, obviously, on contract details. I have to assume it's less than the full mid-level.
Yeah.
So we'll see what it is, but I love the move for the Mavs, and obviously Seth wanted to be here. He still lives here in the offseason. He loved his time in Dallas. He signed a 4-year contract last time, so he wanted to be here for the long term. It just didn't work out, but I'm happy to have him back.
And that 4-year deal just ended. And it was a 4-year, $32 million deal, so $8 million, could that be about the range he gets here? We'll see. The player he got traded for way back when, Josh Richardson, signed a 2-year, $6 million deal with Miami. I think Seth will get more than that. He's a better pure shooter than Josh Richardson. Obviously not as good of a defender, but I'm just excited about this, man. I think the Mavs so far have had a really, really good offseason. It started with the draft. You bring back Kyrie, which we discussed earlier. We'll probably hit a little bit here as well. And now Seth Curry is back on board. Last year, played in 61 games, 9.2 points per game. Look, he doesn't give you a lot of defense, but he can play 18 to 25 minutes per game, and he's going to be one of the best knockdown shooters in the NBA, 40.5% from three-point range. I love this. I also love that he can check the ego and be like, this team has let me go twice, traded me the second time, and he's still willing to come back. I think it speaks to what he feels about this organization. It definitely speaks to how he feels about the city of Dallas. Like Coop mentioned, he lives here anyway, but I'm just excited about this, man. I think Seth Curry can help. You can never have enough shooting. He can come off the bench and be a marksman for this team. So if I'm grading the signing, I know we don't have the full contract details, but I got to give it an A. We'll explore what the contract could be in a second, but A, Coop?
I'm in. A. Let's ride.
I think it's a great deal. Let us know. Grade the signing A, B, C, D, or F. I want to explore the potential contract here for Seth Curry for just a moment. So the Mavs have the mid-level exception, $12.4 million, but you don't have to use it all on one player. You could split that into 1, 2, even 3 players if you want. They've got the biannual exception, which is $4.5 million per year. I mean, if it's under that umbrella, that's an absolute steal. I think, Coop, it'll be more than that. I certainly don't think it'll be the vet minimum, which are the other contracts the Mavs had available.
It wouldn't shock me if this was a 2-year, $16 million, and he just stayed at $8 million per year, and then they used the rest of the mid-level on someone in addition to the biannual. So that wouldn't surprise me, but if I'm taking a guess right now before seeing the numbers, I'd say 2 years, $14 million.
$6 to $8 million per year. That kind of feels like the sweet spot for Seth Curry, but either way, even if it were the full mid-level, I would still like it, but I don't think it will be. I just don't think, because as much as we love Seth, there are limitations there, certain matchups, especially with him defensively. I don't think he'll get the full 12.4, but if it's anything 10 or less, I'm in. I love this deal quite a bit, and to back that up with Kyrie, who signed earlier. Now, Coop, I think the question moving forward now is, the Mavs needed a bench point guard. Seth isn't really that. He can handle the ball here and there, in a pinch. I remember the first time he was here, the Mavs explored him as a point guard, and he played okay at times. That's not really his game. I think in an absolute pinch, he can bring the ball up and do all that. He's a good enough ball handler. But do you still think Dallas could be on the market for more of a traditional point, or do you think now with Luka, Kyrie, and then Seth and Jaden Hardy, between those four, you can get 48 minutes of point guard play covered?
I kind of lean that way. I kind of think that's where they're at with their guard play. I would like a true number one point guard to be an addition here in the offseason, but I think they're happy also with McKinley Wright. They like the way he played last year, and they like his development path as well. So if they need him in a couple of games there, he's still on a 2-way contract, and he's available to them as well. I would say this is probably the end of their guard spree, but who knows? I mean, this is only day one of free agency, an hour 3 going on hour 4. So
yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. Again, we don't have the full details other than knowing that it is a 2-year deal. Subscribe to the channel. NBA free agency is just getting going here. Kyrie's back. Seth, welcome back, part 3. I absolutely love this. We'll have more coverage tomorrow as we progress forward as well. YouTube.com/MavsTV, the latest, greatest Mavericks news and rumors as we go along. Coop, let's just kind of explore what could be next. Now, I know we don't know, like, if this is part of the mid-level, it kind of limits what the rest of that mid-level could be. We know they've been interested in Grant Williams. Let's just say this. If this is somehow under the biannual contract, then you've still got the full mid-level exception available at your disposal. I don't think that'll be the case, but if it is, Grant Williams, Dylan Brooks, D'Angelo Russell, is it possible? I don't think they'll do another guard, but you never know.
I think Seth rules out D'Angelo Russell, but man,
probably right.
Imagine your 3 guards off the bench being Jaden Hardy, D'Angelo Russell, and Seth Curry. I mean, that would be pretty awesome. You obviously signed Kyrie to the 3-year, $126 million deal. The Mavs still have business to do, but this is a very good start. I like for them to address the front court now. I think you need another 4 along with Maxi Kleber, and I think you need another 5 to make this center rotation a little bit formidable, especially if Derek Lively is going to be more of a developmental project this year.
We know they want to move JaVale McGee. That's been well documented. Mark Stein
That is no secret.
He's not in their plans. Stein has also said they would like to bring back Dwight Powell, so I think bringing him back for the vet minimum is still a possibility, especially if JaVale ends up elsewhere. Does a DeAndre Ayton trade get revisited? We'll see. We don't know what's going to happen in Phoenix necessarily, but I don't think we're done by any means here. Like I still think there's 1, if not 2 more dominoes to fall.
Yeah, there's still plenty of room for moves to be made, and I think that the Mavs are being pretty aggressive, and kudos to Nico Harrison. I mean, he knew that this team needed to get better this offseason, and he's done a great job so far of putting the pieces together to make the Mavs a contender in the West once again.
On paper, and that's all we can go by so far, this has been one of the better off seasons in a long time. I mean, you compare it to last year.
In the history of the Mavericks.
Yeah, I mean, you lost Jalen Brunson last year. This year, you trade for Kyrie Irving. You convince him to stay on a deal $4 million less than Fred VanVleet. I know Irving has baggage or whatever, but he is a far superior player than Fred VanVleet. You get Seth Curry back in the fold, really regardless of what the contract is here, knowing that it's part of the mid-level or the biannual, like, one of the best pure shooters in the NBA to come off your bench. Like,
if your name's Curry, you can shoot the rock.
Yeah, you've had a great offseason here. And again, I think there's more to come. I think there's going to be something else that still occurs.
It started with the draft and the moves they made there, getting Derek Lively and getting Omax Prosper.
Getting rid of Bertans.
You acquire Rashawn Holmes, who, had a down year, but I still think has some upside. And then you go in free agency and you get the biggest part out of the way. You retain Kyrie Irving, which was the hard part. The easy part is now putting the pieces around Luka and Kyrie to make this thing really go.
So if you had to pick center or wing forward type, what would you rather have? What do you think could be coming next?
I think I would rather have a center, but I think a wing forward's probably more attainable at this point in time.
Grant Williams.
Grant Williams would be awesome. Yeah.
It depends again if Seth is part of the mid-level. I don't think you can get Grant Williams unless it's a sign and trade.
Agreed. And if you look at the free agent centers that are available, it's slim pickings out there. So
Plumlee's out there.
You would have to make a trade if you're looking for a significant upgrade.
Oh wow, Derrick Rose to the Grizzlies. There you go.
Oh, there you go.
All right. Well, Kyrie, you're back. Seth, welcome back. Part 3. Hopefully, Cuban doesn't trade you again. Give us your one-word reaction to the signings. Happy. I mean, I'm pleased.
Let's go.
I'm
that's
fired
2
up.
words, but that's okay.
Hey, you can cheat. 2 words. Just like Coop on his SAT, cheating all day long.
Hey,
I'm just kidding.
UNT, I did not cheat on my SATs. Go Mean Green.
He's Coop. I'm Harrison. More to come as the days go on in NBA free agency. Go Mavs.
See you soon.